We start today. Joining us, Michael Steele, former chairman of the Republican National Committee and now the co-host of MSNBC's The Weekend, plus Senior Vice President of Communications for Emily's List, Christina Reynolds, and here at the table for the hour, host of MSNBC's Politics Nation and president of the National Action Network, Reverend Al Sharpton. Rev, I want to start with you just because I have you here right in front of me. Running for president's hard, as you know. And if you get suddenly put in the position that Kamala Harris has put in, it's really hard, just out of nowhere. And the last 2 weeks, I would say, she has been flawless as a candidate. I'm curious if you can talk about what you've seen from her in these 2 weeks and the team she's built and the momentum that she's summoned. What has impressed you most in that 2 week span?
I think that she has been flawless, which is what has impressed me most. Because for your whole world to turn upside down unexpectedly and without preparation, and she handled it with balance and grace, and that she was prepared, shows something that I think none of us expected she could do as well as she's done. I saw her yesterday. We both spoke at the funeral services of Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee in Houston, Texas. And you got the sense, as she came on stage and embraced all of us, that she has totally embraced this. She's in the moment. She's comfortable in her skin. And it takes that to really run this kind of campaign, that you're not being shaped and molded. You own this. And she gives me that kind of air yesterday when she took the campaign the night the President Biden withdrew. I talked to her on the phone. I think she is ready for this, and she has the security to build a team around her. Not yes men or women, not a fan club, but people that will say, strategically, we need to do this. They've been to these battles before, and I think by her putting experts on that does not necessarily come from her inner circle shows how secure she is and who she is.
Christina Reynolds, you have, in addition, now you work at Emily's List, but we know each other from many years of you working on various presidential campaigns in the communications office, including Hillary Clinton's back in 2016. I want to play a little bit of Kamala Harris this week, some of the highlights of the sights and sounds of what it has looked like to see her out there, including that incredible rally in Atlanta on Tuesday, and talk to you on the other side about what you've seen in terms of what she's showing as her abilities as a political athlete. Let's play that now.
Donald Trump spoke at the annual meeting of the National Association of Black Journalists. And it was the same old show. The divisiveness and the disrespect. And let me just say, the American people deserve better. Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been talking a big game about securing our border, but he does not walk the walk. Or as my friend Quavo would say, he does not walk it like he talks it. So last week, you may have seen, he pulled out of the debate in September he had previously agreed to. Well, Donald, I do hope you'll reconsider to meet me on the debate stage. Because as the saying goes, if you've got something to say it to my face.
Christina, I'll note just for history, certainly the first time a presidential nominee has ever mentioned anything to do with Migos in a speech, and one thing that I can't imagine Joe Biden having done if he were still the nominee. Tell us what you think about what you've seen from nominee Harris over this last week in particular.
I mean, you said it. She's been flawless, and I'm not shocked by it. But since we're in the middle of the Olympics, I will say as a political athlete, she's winning the gold, right? She looks confident. She looks like she's having fun. She's laying out an incredible message, this idea that we're going to move America forward, that we don't want to go back, that we choose freedom All of those are things that are incredibly compelling to voters and will continue to be as she lays out further details on her vision and her agenda. She's crushing it. Put simply, and I'm not that surprised by it. I think the reality is, as vice president, and particularly since this campaign has started, she's gotten less attention. We never pay attention to the VPs. We don't. Who can tell me what Mike Pence did as VP? But she has sort of quietly moved around the country without as much press attention. But she's been talking to young voters. She's been talking about issues like reproductive rights, like gun violence prevention, like democracy and voting rights, and she's been winning voters over. And so I'm not shocked that this has come together, but she's been flawless, and I think we're gonna see that all the way through to Election Day.
Michael Steele, we're going to talk about the Harris honeymoon and something you wrote a little bit later in this block, but I want to focus a little bit on the staff stuff here, where there's a lot of often political insiders talk about political inside stuff, but the reality is that Vice President Harris had a great advantage here in getting a kind of turnkey operation from Joe Biden. Mm-hmm. But there were people who were going to step aside, like Mike Donnellan, who was the most important person politically in Joe Biden's life for a long time. And there was a question about who she would supplement that crew with. She was going to keep Jen O'Malley Dillon, Julia Chavez Rodriguez in their spots running the campaign. But who else would come in? To bring in David Plouffe in a role where he's going to be the senior advisor for strategy, and the state's focused on winning the Electoral College. Basically, David's going to be on top of the battleground states. He's got Stephanie Cutter. She's got Stephanie Cutter, who is right now deep in convention planning. She was deputy campaign manager for Obama in 2012. Mitch Stewart, who was the face of Obama's grassroots organizing efforts in 2008 and 2012. David Binder, key pollster for Obama in 2008 and 2012, mostly as an expert on focus groups. This is a all-star team. I didn't mention Jen Paul Mary, who's going to be a senior advisor to Doug Emhoff. These are people who in our world are Hall of Famers. And I wonder what you think it says about Kamala Harris that she had the wisdom and the confidence to bring those people in to supplement the existing crew, and that she really has her eyes on the prize, and how much confidence that gives a lot of Democrats that she is really in this to win it. Not that there was much doubt, but that this is a really serious team.
Well, I think you start there, that she has recognized that she needed to pull together a serious team that would be able to orchestrate the various parts of what will be a difficult campaign. And it will be a difficult campaign. And so to have someone with the vision to be able to see around the corner before you get to the end of the block, David Plouffe, to have someone with the appreciation of messaging and understanding the dynamics and flows of communication in a campaign, Jen Paul Mary, then you begin to see why she wanted to piece together those essential ingredients, particularly around strategy and communication, to make sure that the footing that she's standing on now not only gets stronger, but the foundation on which that footing is based grows as well, and allows her to move somewhat effortlessly around the country to have the conversation that Christina noted she's been having for about a year now with a lot of voters out there who during the process had started to check out because they were getting tripped up over the age of Joe Biden. Now they're past that. And I think that putting together the team is important. I just don't think there was the kind of that you would ever think that the the Biden team would transition holistically to Kamala Harris, because they're two different styles of candidates, two different approaches to the voter. And so this makes a lot of sense on a number of levels to do what she's starting to do. Now they got to do the work of making it work as they announce the VP, move into the convention, which offers two real big boosts in the momentum, and then swing into Labor Day, baby, rocking and rolling and knocking it out of the park. And because the Republicans are still back on their heels a little bit, dealing with, J.D. Vance cleanup on aisle 7, as well as they try to figure out what they're going to do with this black woman who they don't think is black running for president.